Hello, hello. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Be Real with Leslie and Brittney. First and foremost, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone who
Yes,
listened to us last year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Leslie.
Happy New Year, Brittany. I'm super excited. I can't wait
Me
to see what the
too.
year holds for us. Yes,
Me too. I'm excited.
yes,
Season two. We did it.
yeah. Season
We
two.
did it.
I
We did
mean,
it. I'm excited.
how did we get here? I don't know, but I'm so grateful.
We just had our 1 year from
We did.
meeting.
Right,
Yeah, and look
right.
at
It was,
us.
look at us. We have a whole podcast on a, wow, out of a friend. Wow. A whole podcast in a year. So, nice. Wow. That's nice. That's pretty nice.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, so I wanted to just tell all of you what we're going to be talking about this season, right?
Yeah.
We ended the last season with a teaser of Radicals, right? So
Yeah.
this next season we're going to be talking about radical combat. And I want to tell you what we're going to be talking about so you can be in a place of expectancy. We're going to go through radical acceptance, radical letting go, radical healing, radical emotional changes, radical commitment to self and something higher than self, radical motivation, radical self awareness, and radical self discipline. So it's going to be a radical season. I hope y'all
I
ready.
mean,
I
this
hope y'all
whole
ready for that.
entire year is going to be radical. I think when you step into a year like this year and you overcame, I wouldn't even say just overcame the struggles of 2030, 2022. Look at me messing it up with 2013, but 2022, all the adversities that that particular year brought, right?
Yes.
To most of us. And I think what why we named this season radical is because if you can overcome the stuff that most of us experienced in 2022, you have no other choice but to be radical in
Yes.
2023. And I think that's where the title came from. It came from this sense of awareness that was developed through the obscurities and the oppression and the adversities that we experience, whether directly or indirectly, in 2022. So that's what I love about the word radical. I mean, that
Oh, yeah.
means, and we're going to look up the word radical so you can have a definition and understanding why we're using radical. So thank you, Brittany. I just love the way you with enthusiasm explained
Break
why
it
we're
down
going.
for them.
Yes, yes, yes,
I went ahead and looked it up if you want me to do it.
yes.
Let's see, radical. It says, especially of change or action relating to or affecting the fundamental nature of something. And it also has another definition of advocating or based on thorough or complete political or social change. I liked what it said there. It says thorough or
Mhm.
complete. And that's what
Yes.
makes it radical, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what makes it radical. You
Yeah.
like that definition of it?
Yeah.
I
I
do.
love that. I think that's an amazing definition because we reach, I mean, in your life, you're going to have, you're going to have you're going to experience stressors and you're going to have moments where you don't feel okay. And you're going to have things that's going to test you. But even after all of those things are over and even after life is said and done in certain situations, the only thing you're left with is you. And so you need to be radical about you. You need to be radical about your life. You need to be
Yes,
radical about
yes,
your mental health. We want you to be radical about your physical health. And so this season in our podcast, we're focusing on just not mental health things, which I specialize in, but also the health factors that go along with
yes.
sustaining a great a mental health
Hmm.
lifestyle. So I think in this season we're attacking lifestyles. We're talking about being
Yes,
intentional and committed to your cause, being intentional and also loyal to yourself and putting yourself first.
yes.
And I think that's why I was so excited when we came up with the term Like, let's call this season radical. Why not?
Yes,
Like after everything
yes.
that we've been through, why not focus on radicalness? So,
You really hit the nail the hammer on the nail, right? How do you say the expression? You hit the nail on the head whenever you said intentionality this year. Intentionality. My mantra for last year was obedience is better than sacrifice.
hmm
Obedience is better than sacrifice because for me, I lived a long life of sacrifice. I'm gonna sacrifice, get this. I'm gonna sacrifice, get that. I'm gonna sacrifice, get this. And I made something else my God that should not have been. I elevated something else to a place that it never should have gone. And so last year I really had to go through a lot of pruning and be obedient to my God, right? I
hmm
had to be obedient. And so last year was all about obedience. No matter what, I'm going to be obedient. And this
hmm
year, not leaving that behind, but bringing it with me for the rest of my life. And
hmm
this year, I'm really focusing on intentionality. So I love
Yeah.
how you said
Yeah.
that I'm going to be intentional this year because
Yeah.
what we're talking about today we're doing radical acceptance.
Yes.
So do you
Yes.
want to start that or you want me to start that?
Personally, based on my expertise, and I normally love doing ACT therapy, which is a form of therapy that we utilize in dealing with anxiety, OCD, some forms of depression, and in milder cases of trauma and things like that, we may use ACT therapy, which is acceptance commitment therapy. And the reason why I'm bringing this up because throughout the process of therapy, we work with the clients to reach a phenomenal place in their recovery process or in their mental on their mental health journey where they're able to accept the things that they can change and also
Mhm.
accept the things that they cannot change. And I think the reason why acceptance is so important because you go through a period of trying to figure out how to get to acceptance. Like, and people go through these extreme changes in their life just to reach a place of acceptance. And I think
Right.
that's why even utilizing a therapy technique sometimes is also really helpful for me. It allows me to diffuse some of my own cognitive distortions or my own negative core beliefs that contradict my values. And so, even in that approach, we get the client to look at their value system. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because one of the biggest conflicting things that we may encounter that stunts our spiritual growth is the internal conflict that we have within. And that conflict prevents us from accepting whether it's the will of God, whether it's the process of life, whether it's a situation in front of us. That that particular conflict and that battle within your soul over your values, over your emotional state prevents you from reaching that place of acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you broke that down. I love how you broke that down. You have all the tools.
No, I don't. I think
You
it's just
do.
amazing because I remember when you first called me and said, I think I'm going to leave my job to pursue my career. I'm going to leave my job to pursue having my own business and whatever that entails. And I
Hmm.
think you went through this period of like depression and anger,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Depression and anger,
Yes.
excuse me. And
Yes.
during that period of anger, you were perplexed and you felt dismayed. I'll let you share your
Yes.
own story, but
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's where when we start working out that part of ourselves in whatever
Hmm.
situation we find ourselves in, that's the path. That's the journey it takes to reach a place of acceptance.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So for me, definitely going through last year, there was a lot of acceptance, right? Because in obedience, what can you do but accept what the Father tells you? For me, like I said in my God that I serve, if you're going to be obedient, what can you do but accept? As I asked so many times, let me be joyful in my obedience. I
Hmm
want to be
hmm
joyful in my obedience. I don't want to just obey and be mad about it. I want to be joyful in my obedience. So being joyful, that means I'm accepting whatever it is that I need to do. And I was called from the bedside. And I wasn't too happy about that because I really, really enjoyed being there with my patients, titrating those drips, going to the cold blues. I loved the adrenaline of it. I loved, delivering that baby from the car. So I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It wasn't just about the money for me. I loved that whole life. So when I was called from doing that, I was upset. I was mad.
Hmm. I can see that. I think
I
it's
was
easy
upset.
to say I can be obedient until you're tested. It's easy to say, well, I know I'm going to be able to submit to my husband. I know I'm going to be able to do this with my, I'm going to be able to set some boundaries or be able to do this or that and this and that until you're tested. Until that same situation that you're in begins to test your life, begins to test
Yes.
that thing in you that you think so easily exists, like
Right.
waiting, like accepting the process of some situation to manifest itself. It's so easier said than done until you find
So
yourself right in the middle of it. And that's when you are left with, so what are you going to do now? So where's your
yeah.
acceptance now?
Yeah. And
Where's your peace
I
now?
want to tell you guys, the process is messy. It is so
It's
messy.
messy. It's messy.
People ask me all the time, Brittany, how did you do this so fast? How
Uh-huh.
are you getting
Uh-huh.
clients so fast? How did you establish your business so fast? How did you do it so fast?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, it was very messy. It
Yeah.
was a messy process. It
Yeah.
didn't look good. You're seeing me on the other side, but you didn't see me when I was in a dark place. I didn't tell
Yeah.
you I was in a
Yeah.
dark place. It was none of your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
But now
And
that I'm on the
accepting
other
doesn't
side of
exist
that,
unless you have that. Yeah, you're on the other
right,
side. Yeah.
exactly. You have to make it so if you're in a dark place, you have to know. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt. You have to know that
Mhm.
joy will come in the morning.
Yeah.
There is a light at the end of this dark tunnel. I love
Yeah.
that phrase that there's a light at the end of the tunnel because when you're in that dark place, you
You
can't see it.
can't see
I didn't
that
see it.
light. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see
Yeah.
it. I
You
said, I don't
can't
know
see
how I'm
it.
gonna get out of this. I
Yeah.
don't know how I'm getting
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But I have to get out. My life depended on it, right?
It depended on it.
My life literally depended on me getting out of a dark place. So it was just like
Yeah.
but I accepted the darkness too. And I think that's
Yeah.
another thing about acceptance.
You have to
You
accept
can't
the pain as
avoid
well. You
it,
just
right? You
can't.
have to accept the
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah. And the
Exactly.
pain doesn't feel
Exactly.
good, but the pain is a teacher. And so the pain is
Yes.
sent to teach you something. So if you try to
Yes.
avoid the pain and you suppress it and you ignore it and you act like, and you respond with, like I was telling this one client, you can't respond to the pain with anxiety. You can't respond to the pain with a panic attack. Then you stop the pain in the process. You need the
Right.
pain to play out. Let this just play out.
Yes.
So when I get to my
Yes.
end, when I get to the end, I'll know that it's all worth it. If you skip
Cry
the
the
process of letting,
tears.
yeah, you have to
Yes.
let
Cry
it
the
play out. You
tears.
have to,
Yeah.
because remember, I wouldn't need accepting if there wasn't a problem.
Mhm.
Acceptance is
Mhm.
only needed because there's a problem. And
Right.
remember, problems are not there to make you suffer. Problems are there to help you to become whatever you need to become in that season of your life. And so I think
Right.
when I look at my adversities and I look at the things I had to, that I am accepting in my life and had to come to accept, I realized that everything that I had to accept was for a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always for a purpose. I had a client today actually, and she was beautiful. She was a beautiful young lady, and she wanted something from me that I actually don't offer. And through my whole journey of going from registered nurse turned holistic wellness coach, right? Because that is my business. As I've taken this journey, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone to guide me through it, right? I had to
Mhm.
figure
Mhm.
everything
Mhm.
out. I'm not a website
Mhm.
designer. You guys, I've never been a social media guru, right? I did not,
Mhm.
I wasn't into those types of things.
Mhm.
But I had to figure it all out. I had to figure it all out. And I kept asking God, why are you making me learn every little piece of this thing? Why do I have to learn every little thing? And there was a purpose in all of it. Come to find out, she wanted me to teach her how to do what I did. And I was
Mhm.
very happy. It was very happy to do it.
It's so
So that
humbling,
is
right?
definitely going to be, yes, it's so humbling. So that's definitely going to be coming soon, right? Teaching other young women how to go through this process because
Mhm.
everyone, all of us are not meant to educate in a certain area, right? Like
Mhm.
everyone's
Mhm.
not a therapist. Everyone isn't you, Leslie, right? Everyone isn't Brittany. And
Mhm.
so for those of us who are called to do a certain thing, you're going to have to go through the work, right? You're going to have to go
Yeah.
through the process. And becoming a registered nurse was not easy by any means. It
Mhm.
wasn't easy, but now that I've done it, now that I'm, 10 years in the game, I can definitely mentor someone else on how to do that. And one of my biggest things that I told that young lady today is whatever you can do
Mhm.
whatever you have naturally, right? When what people are drawn to, learn how to monetize that
Mhm.
thing. That's
That
the
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the
To
thing you want to,
monetize. Yeah.
that's the thing to monetize, the thing that you are
Mhm.
passionate about, that you are excited about. Everyone doesn't go to school to become a doctor.
Mhm.
Everyone doesn't go to school to become an engineer.
Mhm.
Everyone isn't a YouTube, millionaire. So do the thing that truly brings you the most joy. What can I do that's going to bring me the most joy for the least amount of time and make me the most money?
Mhm. That's it.
Right? So that was
Mhm.
it. That was it.
Yeah.
That was
That's
it.
it.
So that's truly been my journey with it, accepting what comes naturally to me, right?
Mhm.
If teaching other people, if that comes naturally to me, then I suppose that's what I'm doing.
And you have to surrender to that. And I think that's one of the things about, this is going to probably, as we're like processing what acceptance should look, what it looks like, and
Right.
the way, the journey of acceptance. I really feel like, you guys should know that acceptance is a journey too, right? Like there's some things that we're going to constantly face that we may have to go back to the place of anger, um, uncertainty, anxiety, and then we get back to acceptance. Because just because you're accepting one thing in your life doesn't mean you're going to accept everything that comes up in your life, and you may
Right.
travel back down that road of figuring out how do I get to acceptance in this area. So one thing I want to encourage our listeners to do is to be gentle with yourself in this
Yes.
process, and know that as you're looking for ways to practice acceptance in your life, you're also looking for radical gentleness in other areas that you're not so ready to let go of. And I think that's something that, I mean, even as Brittany talking about mentoring a client or changing her role, even as she's establishing her business to assess her role, that's acceptance too. And sometimes she's probably perplexed because she's like, is this
Yes.
really what I need to be doing? Is
Yes.
what you're
Yes. Yes.
like, is
Yes.
this really the season for this? So when
Yes.
you're battling with those things and those conflicting thoughts or feelings, don't feel like that's okay. Well, man, I'm not making progress anywhere. Don't
Right.
allow a mental filter to keep you from seeing the positive areas that you've made progress in, or see the areas where there's been major changes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
acceptance is not something that wake up one day and boom, I'm accepting. No,
Yeah.
acceptance is a process. Change is a process. And so just surrender to it and you will see
Yes.
it. And if you're forcing yourself to be it, then that's not true acceptance. We're
That's
talking
that's
about
that's not you.
radical,
Right.
life changing acceptance.
Yes, yes. And another thing that I wanted to touch on with acceptance, you're going to take two steps forward and one step back,
Mhm.
5 steps forward and 6 steps back. You know, It's
For
going
sure.
to be
For
this.
sure.
Life is a journey, and that's what makes it so beautiful.
So beautiful.
It's not a constant incline, right? Or we're just gonna soar, just constant. It's
Mhm.
gonna be there's gonna be some hills and some valleys and some ups and
Mhm.
downs, and uh, embrace
Embrace
the
that.
the
Yeah.
tough times, embrace, because
Mhm.
that's a lesson. That's a I remember my I remember my first client. I remember my very first client. She during our first session, she said, yeah, um I took a look at your website, and I want to learn. I'll learn. I want to know what else you have to offer, basically. So I spent the next 2 days, you guys, working on that website, because she told me right there it wasn't up to par, baby. It wasn't up to
Yeah.
par.
And you know what? That's
So,
acceptance. I remember my second, I think it was about my fourth or fifth client that came. I had just moved into this new office in Dallas, and I was super excited about my office space. And, not trying to underestimate my season, there was no furniture in the office. Like, I just wanted
hmm
the office. Like, the only thing I could afford in that time, in that season of my life, was a couch. So I put that couch in. No, no, no. I think I didn't even have a couch. I just had a chair, and
got
and
a
a chair for
chair.
me and a chair for a client. And I recall her. I remember this client. So I mean, every time I bring up this story, I laugh
You
now
are
because in that moment I wasn't laughing. But she
right,
said
right.
to me, "Is this your office?" And I said, "Yes, this is my office."
And
And I
you
said,
were
"I'm
proud,
super
right? You were
excited."
thinking like, I have an
I was like, "Oh
office.
my God, I
Like,
have an office." I was like, "This is my new office. What do you think?" And she's like, "I like the building, but you're not. Are you ready?" And I
are
was
you
like,
ready?
I am ready. And I think that's the thing too. People may show up in your season and look at what you're offering and think you're not ready for that season. But it's not
Right.
up to them to determine your
It's
readiness
not.
in that season. So even
Yes.
though, what am I making a point about? Acceptance to the visual eye is may look different than the acceptance that you go through spiritually. What am I saying?
hmm
People may not see acceptance on your clothes, or they may not see it just looking at you that you're accepting something. But if it's going on internally, and you know that you've been called to accept this situation that you're in,
Yes.
or you've been called to do walk in your career, walk in your new
Yes.
career, or walk out your new
Yes.
business plan, or walk out some situation that's going on in your relationship, other people may not know why you're doing that.
hmm
But if you've accepted this season for what it is, and what it doesn't look like I accepted my office was empty. Other people hadn't reached that place yet because she never came
Right.
back after that day. But I
But that
accepted
was
that.
okay. That was okay.
Yeah, that's fine because I was at a place of acceptance. So why am I saying this? I'm gonna make this next point. Don't allow the fact that other people don't allow the I was what am I gonna say? Don't allow other people to dictate how you accept your
Yes.
season. Even if they don't understand what
Yes.
you're doing, don't allow their disencouragement or their non-existence to prevent you from embracing the totality of the season that you find yourself in. Because
Yes.
that's
Yes.
acceptance. Because if you are waiting for someone else to validate a season that either God called you to or you are assured that you should be in, you need to know without a doubt that you're in the right place. That's acceptance too.
Yes. Yes. I told someone recently, I said, until you get your mindset that you can do this and no one else can tell you otherwise, until you reach that mindset, don't
Mhm.
even try to start the business. Work
Yeah.
on your mindset
Work on your
first. You
mindset.
have to
Yeah.
believe that you can do it.
You have to believe
I
it. Yeah.
love my husband. I do, y'all. I love my husband so much, but he didn't see it. I already heard. I know
Mhm.
what God said, and I know what I
Mhm.
believe in my mind.
Mhm.
And when he said, well, I'm not sure, I said, I know the God I serve. I know the God I serve, and I know that I can do this.
Mhm.
I became a registered nurse when my family told me not to do it and it would be too difficult.
Mhm.
I had my RN license at 21 years old with a
Yes.
child. with a
Yes.
child when no one else
Mhm.
thought I could do it. But I
Yes.
believed that I could do it.
I
So
believe. Yeah.
if if you believe if you believe in your vision, do not let anyone
Mhm.
stop you. But you gotta work. You have to work on
You
yourself.
gotta work to that.
You gotta you gotta get
You
there.
need to work on the acceptance, because I think
Mhm.
once you can accept it, like I accepted my call to duty when I was driving one day to my last contract job, and I called a friend, and he's my husband today. But I called him and I was like, "Man, something is really telling me today is my last day at this job, and it's telling me to walk out my business, and it's time to step into your own business, and it's gonna be fine, and you're gonna get through this, and yada yada yada."
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
person was my husband was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna walk away from your business? Like, I mean, you're gonna walk away from this business that's paying you, and to embrace something of the I mean, to embrace this unknown path." And I was
The
like,
unknown. Yeah.
"Yes, yes." And I was
Yes, I
like,
am.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Yes, I am."
Because
And
you
now
already knew
looking back
within
at that,
yourself, right?
yeah, the
And
acceptance
there was
had already
nothing
taken
nobody else
place.
could say.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
even when I would cry tears at night because my business wasn't like blooming or was going through a difficult season, I will always go back to that moment where I accepted the call. Like I
Mhm.
accepted this is the season that I'm walking into, and this is an
Mhm.
everlasting call that I'm making.
Yes.
So what am I saying? Some things that you signed up for spiritually or physically, you need to accept that you signed up for that and then walk that thing out. So
Walk it
acceptance is
out.
just not accepting the bad things that we go through and accepting getting to a place where we surrender to it, but also acceptance is it may look like something different depending on where you are in your life. For us, it
Mhm.
was accepting this journey of being business owners. For someone
Yeah.
else, it could be accepting being a wife and understand that's a different role that you're walking out
Yeah.
in this season of your life. So what we're saying is, no matter what's showing up in your life, tell yourself that you're going to enter into a season of acceptance. Tell yourself that you're
Yes.
willing to get on the
Yes.
bandwagon with finding out what acceptance looks like on the other side of this problem. Flip the card over. We're
Yes.
just asking you to flip the card over and look at
Yes.
the other side, because there's always two sides. So flip it over and look at the other side and see what's on the other side.
Yes. Yes. You said something crucial the other day while we were on a phone call, and you said, this person that you're telling me about, Brittany, this person was willing to accept the thing when everything was good, but they're not willing to accept it during some trials.
Mhm.
So you must be able to accept it with the good and the bad. If you take on a
Mhm.
new role, if you take on a role as a wife, you need to be able to accept that spouse of yours that you decided to take on with the good and the bad. That's why they say for
The
better or for
good and the
worse. It's
bad.
not just
Yeah.
something they say.
Yeah.
If you
It's
take
for
on a
good
new
and yeah.
job, if you take on a new business venture, you have to accept the good and the bad. You can't just
Mhm.
want it when things are good, right? When things are
Mhm. Mhm.
prosperous.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love this topic. I love
Yeah,
this topic.
I
I
think
love this
it's
topic.
someone said this in a, I don't know if it was a quote I read the other day, and the person who said made this quote, I think it was something along these lines that um we only accept Christ because we think he's like the candy man, right? Or we only accept Christ because we want the benefits of being a Christian, but we don't want the trials. Like you want to run away when the trials take place, but you want the benefits of Christianity, or you want the benefits of a relationship, but you don't want to deal with the ups and downs of that relationship.
Right,
So I
right.
just think in general, you want a successful business, but even in every successful business, there's a lot of downtime. There are times when the business is not blossoming and not blooming at all, or not bringing forth any harvest. Are you going to still Are you going to still work
Push.
that
Are you gonna
vineyard?
still?
Are you going to still
Yes,
push?
yes,
And I think work
yes.
that thing out, because that's when you're going to see the results. And I think that's for any season in our life,
Yes,
accepting the
yes.
good and the bad, and to surrender to what you can't control. I think when
Mhm.
you think of the words of acceptance, think about how can I surrender to what I can't control, and how do I accept more of the things I can control, and then figure out how to continue to maintain those things. I think that's
Yeah.
what true acceptance is reevaluating
Yeah.
your not just your psychological flexibility, but reevaluating problems as they come up to determine what type of psychological flexibility you need in that situation.
Right. Right. We speak a lot about seasons, and I wanted to provide you all with a visual about seasons that really helped me last year. Um, we go through these different seasons, right? You're in a high season, in your work, you're in a low season. We talk about seasons and we talk about putting in the work. Well, the visual that really, really helped me is gardening. I started gardening last year. Something I always wanted to do was like, I've always wanted to garden. The Proverbs 31 woman, she had a garden, so I wanted a garden. So I did start my garden last year. And through that, I saw that you plant, right? You plant, you water that thing, and you care for it, and you
Mhm.
don't get the fruit until the next season. We're in a society of quick, 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 right? We're in a society of instant gratification. I was talking to a friend the other day. Amazon, they went from 2 day shipping to 2 hour shipping. We're in this society of a instant
I want it
instant
now.
fix. I
Yeah.
want it
Mhm.
now. I want it now. I want to become viral, right? Because I want it now. I want the results now. But when we start to talk about real life applications, and when we
Mhm.
talk about long-term success and long-term wealth, generational wealth,
Mhm.
this takes a cultivating of one season, and you may not see a return till next season.
Next season.
Next season, you won't see
Yeah.
you won't see it till next season. You're not going to see that fruit till next season. I can't
Okay.
plant a seed and expect it to bloom the next day. Not if I want
Mhm.
something that's going to be um, a substance, a food substance, right? You can
Mhm. Mhm.
probably do some herbs and things like that. I had
Mhm.
to learn, right? I had to learn that
Yeah,
part.
I know. I know about
But it
that. Yeah.
takes time for those
Mhm.
fruit to grow. And then, it makes me think the fruit of your labor. That's what it means.
Mm.
The fruit
Yeah. The fruit
of
of
your
your labor.
labor. You did
Yeah.
labor to get that fruit.
Yeah.
It
You
wasn't an
did.
instant
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
that visual helped me. I hope it helps someone else, because it really helped me to be diligent. I don't say
Mhm.
things are hard
Mhm.
anymore. I've worked really, really hard on intentionality this year. I don't say things are difficult. Nothing's difficult. You just need to be
Mhm.
diligent. It's not
Mhm. You need to
difficult.
be
It's
diligent. Yeah.
You just need to be diligent. Change up the
Mhm.
word a little bit.
Mhm. And I think that's so important, like changing the verbiage, right? Like change your messages to yourself in every in those tough seasons, right? You need to really
Right.
be intentional about the words that you're speaking to
Right.
yourself and to others regarding the
Yes.
season that you're in, because not I mean, when we really think about it, we get ourselves stuck. And then we
Come
were
on.
wondering like why am I stuck? Did they pray for me? I went to church. I'm reading this book. I'm watching these different TikToks because I hear it all the time from clients, but I'm still stuck. Because you don't believe the stuff you're hearing, and the message
Right.
that you're telling yourself are probably filled with a lot of toxicity. And so
Right.
make sure as you're working on acceptance that you're cleaning out the stuff that's preventing you from
Yes.
accepting. Like what is standing in the
Yes.
way from you accepting the thing that you need to accept? Maybe there's some anger, maybe there's some regret, maybe there's some fear, maybe there's something stuck there. Maybe there's a negative friend in your ear that you need to get rid of. Maybe there's a negative
Get rid
spouse
of
that you need
them.
to stop sharing your secrets with. It could even be a
Yes.
spouse. Sometimes you just got to put whatever that is to rest so you can get
Mm-hmm.
to a place where you are in control of the messages that you're receiving, and you're in control of the energy that's not only around you, but that's also in you. And so that's what I
Yes.
think of acceptance. Acceptance is like
Yes.
embracing that energy, embracing
Yeah.
the light. Like, wow, now I see the light. And if you don't follow
Now
the
I
light,
see
you're
it.
going to
Now
follow
I get it.
something. There, now you're going to either follow two things. You're going to either follow the light, or you're going to follow the darkness. Which one are you going to follow? Because if you follow the light, you know that there's hope. You know that there's restoration, and you
Yes.
know you're going to reach an
Yes.
expected end. But if you follow the darkness, what you can guarantee, you're going to either not only gain weight or lose a lot of weight. You're going to become depressed. You're going to become overly anxious. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
overthink. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
be reactive, and your reactivity level is going to increase. And all these negative things are going to take place because you're
Yeah.
following a different light. Matter of fact, you're
Right.
following something with no light. And so you
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that you're checking your energy. And as we're wrapping up this conversation on acceptance, I really want you guys to do an energy check. I really want you to
Yes.
figure out a way. Like, I love my sister here because her daily, one of her daily methods is to do meditations in yoga. And I do meditations. I don't do a whole lot of yoga, but I know that even in doing those meditations and other things that we do, like she's a big yoga person, and I think
Yeah.
it's for rebalancing, to check into
Yes.
your
Yes.
energy, and
Yes.
to realign yourself with what you really value. And I think that's
Yeah.
why what we're talking about today is so important, to start the year off with acceptance. That's why we start our year off with fasting, because we're like, okay, let's get this
Yes.
thing rebound. Let's rebalance
Let's
everything.
let's let's get this
Let's
discipline right.
yeah, let's
Like
get
let's
this
get this
discipline
discipline
right on
refocused.
track. So I definitely give 10% of my year to God in the beginning of the year first, like
Yes.
fasting, rededicating my body and my mind. So you need to figure out what that looks like as your journal, no, not journaling, but as your journey increases,
That's good
what
too.
it will, yeah, you need to be journaling too. But I definitely think as you're on this journey, you need to do a lot. We talked about self discovery in our last season. In self compassion, you really need to
Right.
reevaluate some of the things that we talked about in our last season. If you're not,
Yes. If
abreast
you
of
haven't
some of the
heard it
conversations,
yet, go
yeah,
back and
there,
listen.
go back and
Go
listen to
back and
them.
listen. Go back
Yeah,
and listen so you can be
just
up to date with us.
rewind. Yes,
Go
because I
back and
think we're gonna
listen.
touch on,
Share it with a
yeah,
friend.
rewind.
Bless them too. So
Bless
yes,
them,
yes.
because it blessed
Cause we
us. I
keep it.
mean,
We
it
just keep it
really.
real. We keep it real. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
tell
keep it
you. We're gonna
real,
give you the
and
tools.
it blessed us. Most of the stuff we talk
Exactly.
about blessed us. So, hopefully
Exactly.
this conversation today, bless you, and I hope that it gives
Yes.
you something to think about. Like, am I really accepting the stuff that I'm going
Right.
through?
Right.
Am I reacting to everything because I haven't reached a place of acceptance? So
Right.
really think about what we're talking about today, and we appreciate you guys for listening. We thank you for giving us an
Yes.
opportunity to come into your home, your car, your workout or whatever you may be doing right now. We
Yes.
do appreciate
Yes.
you, and we
Yes.
hope that we said something that will hit home and to bless you in some way. So we
Yes.
thank you for joining us in
Thank you
for season
guys.
2, and we're looking forward to hearing some feedback if you have any. Email
Yes.
us.
Yes. Send it to
Um,
us.
when you go on Spotify, if you have any comments, feel free to click on the links there to email us and give us some feedback on some topics that you think we should cover.
Oh,
And
and
we just appreciate
I
you.
wanted to say really quickly, Leslie, if they wanted any counseling from you personally, how can they get in contact with you?
Yes, I'm on Psychology Today. You can look up Leslie Babalola on Psychology Today, and you should find my profile. It's very easy when you type it into Google. Just type Leslie Babalola, LPC, Texas, and it's going to come up. Like, I'm on a couple of platforms, so no matter what platform you choose, whether it's Headway, Psychology Today, or Sunday Mind, a couple of those places that you can find me, and we can connect there and we can start your treatment. And you can personally reach out to me as well. We'll put my email address in the link today
Yes.
so we can start,
Yes. Yes.
promoting those things as well. And but we also need to promote Brittney because her holistic and wellness teaching and the things that she's
Yeah.
doing in the fasting world, to help
Yeah.
with the mental and the spiritual and the physical health. So, Brittany,
Yes.
how would people
Yes.
be able to reach out to you?
Yes, 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 yes. You can reach me on the website. It is beautifully.wmadeco.com. You can reach me on Instagram. Same handle. It is beautifully.wmadeco. You could email me. And we have Facebook as well. Same handle, beautifully.wmadeco. I've made it very easy for you guys. But we will put
Good.
all of those links in in our description on Spotify and the other platforms. That way you can reach out to us if you need counseling or you need coaching, whatever it is, we are accepting clients right now.
Yeah,
So
we
we
are
will be
accepting clients.
more
Yeah.
than happy. We will start our speaking engagements this year. So if
Yeah,
you do
yes.
want to book us for a
Yes.
speaking engagement, please email us. This is us, this is
And
us,
we're open. We're open to
unfiltered.
whatever. Yeah,
Right, right,
unfiltered.
right, right.
And we'll have those kind of, those candid, conversations about life. We're going to talk about
Right,
sex, health, and all of it this season. I don't think we're going to hold
right.
any bars back this season. We're going to talk about
Nah.
religion and, Christianity versus the rest of the world, the
Yes,
socialist stuff that's
yes,
going on in the world today, and the secular religion
yes.
that they're creating. We're going to talk about it all on here. So if you
Everything.
want to have some real conversations, um, if you're coming over here just to judge, then this may not be the place for you, because we're okay if you judge us, but we're not going to stop doing what we've been called to do. So
Right,
we're
right, right,
excited for
right.
our new season. I think that's why we started out with Radical, because we know that whatever is
Yes,
going to come up this year out of us and out of our life is going to be radical, whether it's radical
yes,
miracles, whether it's radical acceptance, whether it's radical
yes,
peace, and whether it's an abundance of favor and the financial wealth. Whatever is coming
yes,
out of us is going to be radical. And I think because we're
yes,
proclaiming it and we're stating it now, that it has no
yes.
other choice but to manifest. So
It
I
has
hope
no
you're
choice.
manifesting.
It has no
I hope
choice.
yes, and I hope you're manifesting the same things. Like, continue to manifest what you want your life to look like, even if it
Yes,
looks nothing like what you want it to look like. Continue to manifest it and speak it and
yes,
believe it and say it out loud and watch. There's
yes,
so much
yes,
power when you say it out loud. So
yes,
good
yes,
luck,
yes,
guys,
yes.
and I do
Good luck,
appreciate this.
guys.
You guys
Yes,
logging on today to listen to us, and we appreciate you. Thank you so
we
much.
appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.